What is good, guys, man? Thank you for tuning back into the channel, man. If you're new, make sure you hit that sub button down below to be notified for every single video that I drop, man. Listen, y'all hit that subscribe button. If you're new, hit the subscribe button, man. Look, my goal was to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I don't know if I'm going to do that. Anything is possible. But we got to really hit it next year. If you don't hit that goal by the end of this year, at least half of it. And I can't do it without y'all support, man. We're going to keep grinding until we get there, man. Of course, I have not been in consistency as much because I've been working non-stop. Got some goals to take care of. But anywho, y'all see what the title is. Why she cut her family off and she doesn't regret it. We about to dive into her story. I will pause and stuff a little bit because I might chime in because her story can possibly relate to mine. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into what she is talking about. She looks familiar, by the way. She just look like I've seen her before. So let's get into it.
Hey guys, so before I start this video about why I cut my family off, I just want to make it very clear that this was not an overnight process, that this took over 2 years for me to be in a place where I can talk about it without getting emotional or feeling like it hurts me again. And I was also going through therapy as this was happening, so thank God, because I think that if it wasn't for my therapist, I probably, because of her and just what God has done, like it has allowed me to slowly be able to heal myself from the trauma that I experienced when I was little. Growing up, I lived in the house with my mom, my dad, and my 2 brothers. No one in the house wanted to have a relationship with me. My brothers used to make fun of me all the time. They made fun of my hair, make fun of my body, of the clothes that I wore, everything. They never included me in anything. They never wanted me to be around them. My younger brother is 1 year older than me. My oldest brother is 6 years older than me. My parents, they never interacted with me really. Like they never read to me or spent time with me doing anything. The only time they really interacted with me was when they were yelling at me for something.
Bro, yeah, I can definitely relate to her, man. Of course, my dad was never there for me. It was never in my life. And far as interacting with me, or any of her children, it was none of that. No interaction in the house, really, like talking about it. I would literally sit in my room, play the game all day. No bond with my mom. No bond at all with my dad. You know what I'm saying? And to this day, there is no connection with my mom at all, or possibly any of my siblings. Like now I got some close cousins, but as far as parent wise, there's no bond, there's no connection at all. One of the most important things you should do when we do have children is to make sure we have that bond with them. Make sure we're spending that time with them. Make sure we're paying attention to them. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the things. When I got a child now, that's one of the things that I am doing and staying on point with, because when we just think about ourselves, we lose focus of what we should be focusing on. You know what I'm saying? When you have children, they want to feel loved. They want to feel cared about. And growing up, I didn't feel that love. You know what I'm saying? And to this day, I still don't feel love. I still don't feel cared about. And it's only just arguments and disagreements when it comes to this side of the family and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad to say, man, but it is what it is. And this year, at the end of this year, I finally have accepted the fact that once I do, move away and stuff like that, I'm moving on with my life. I'm never looking back. I'm fed up. I'm tired. Because for the longest, I've been fighting. You know what I'm saying, and trying to get family together and stuff like that, do trips and stuff together, because we never had that growing up. We never had no interaction with nobody, with anything. So everything is so divided. And it's sad when when you got parents and you have no bond, you feel no love from them. So who else do you turn to at the end of the day? And that's why I am so close to God. Like I always been since I was young. You know what I'm saying? Because when I felt like nobody was there for me, I know God was there for me, and God blessed me with a son, so I can give him that love that I never received, man. So I'm gonna listen to the rest of her story, because I can definitely relate to what she is talking about, guys. Let's get back into it though.
Something that I did wrong, or they were tag teaming me By like if I got in trouble in school, my mom would be, she would scream at me, she would beat me, and then my dad would come in and he'd follow up by screaming and beating me. Or sometimes they would just do it together. So a lot of the times, like, I was told I was a bad child, I wasn't going to amount to anything, I was nothing like my brothers, that there's something wrong with me, that I'm nothing like them. That was basically like the record that was played over and over again. So that's what I started to believe, that I was just defective. So as I got older and they couldn't really put their hands on me, it just became verbal abuse or emotional abuse. Like, I was always isolated. I was never allowed to go do anything with my friends for absolutely no reason, just because my mom didn't want me to do anything. Your brother, who was a year older than me, going to school with him, I had found out that he had been talking about me and like making fun of me to other people about the things that I do at home. And I was just really
Black
like, I was
sheep of the
really blown
family.
away when I found out that he was talking about me, because that was something that never crossed my mind. Even though we weren't really close, I had just never thought, like, let me talk about my brother to other people. That was just something that never was even a thought to me. So when I found out that he was talking about me behind my back to other people, it just crushed me. And it just, again, made me feel that isolation and that rejection. And my older brother, once he went to college, I had really never heard from him. I didn't talk to him often. I didn't really know anything about him. He kept in touch with my brother. I would talk to him on the phone sometimes, but like, we didn't have a close relationship. As I got older, I just realized that they're not going to change their behavior, because they don't know anything about me to know how their behavior affects me. So when I turned 30 about 3 years ago, that's when I decided I'm going to start. When I started therapy, that's when I decided, like, I'm going to start creating boundaries for them, because not having that emotional support from my family as I got older, and when things would go on, it became really hard. They would talk amongst each other about me, but they would never talk to me.
Everything that she is talking about, I experienced. No emotional support. When I'm going through something, there's no emotional support. Um, I don't know what my mom went through when she was young to the person she is today, but you can't go to that woman for nothing. For nothing at all. Um, Not having a father figure to show you how to be a man, you know what I'm saying? How to control your emotions as a man. Don't got that. And a woman can't teach a man how to be a man at the end of the day. So, um, if I can step into her shoes, I can see where she's coming from or what she's struggling with when it comes to emotional support for a man, for a boy. But, you know, it is what it is.
About me. So they would just assume that they knew what was happening in my life or the things that I was going through. And they would talk about it, and gossip about me essentially behind my back. And that was just something that, it was just really traumatizing. And I just needed emotional support that wasn't available to me. To be treated the way that I deserve to be treated, it was going to be something that they weren't able to do. For example, something that I recently had to talk to my therapist about was my brother's remark to me at a wedding. So I had not seen my brother in probably 2 years, hadn't had more than a few text message conversations with him. He took it upon himself to tell me at a wedding in front of a table of family members that I need to eat a sandwich because I'm too skinny. Now, if you would have known me, you would have known that I've been dealing with self-esteem issues since I was very little, because of the way that they treated me, and that I had worked really hard to accept myself and to love myself the way that I was. And saying something like that is very detrimental to, you know, to I wasn't in a place where that wouldn't affect me at that point, but he wouldn't know that because he didn't know me. Like, I was done with this relationship because he's not going to change, and I'm tired of trying to explain, like, why I deserve to be treated like through. And instead of addressing the issues with me or talking to me about things, they would just make assumptions, and then they would talk amongst themselves about the things that I was going through. I would catch wind of it, and it would just, at first it would really bother me, but then I just realized like these are just who these people are. Because I am an introvert in a very extroverted family, I am automatically the odd man out. I
Man, she
keep my circle small. I don't care.
shit. Me and her relate on so much. I'm definitely an introvert. I don't do everything that everybody does in my family. You know, I stay to myself a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I stay to myself a lot for a reason. I only hang around people that's genuine, that I can trust. You know what I'm saying? And when you're not doing everything that your family is doing, you're gonna be the weird one. You're gonna be the odd one, and I'm fine with being in that position. You know what I'm saying? And, you're not gonna always fit into every group, even your family. I don't care. Family is just a word to me at the end of the day. I didn't pick and choose what family I was supposed to be in. God chose that for me, but um, God definitely woke me up. You know what I'm saying? To see so much, and the things that I need to get away from, and I'm just happy to say, man, that I'm fully committed on my destination when I make my move. But yeah, I'm definitely an introvert like she is, and I'm cool. I'm cool. I'm cool with being to myself. For real, for real.
Who you are. If I feel as if there's something iffy about you, I don't need you to be close to me. All I
Right.
need is like one or two people that I can confide in, and that's enough for me. So through this process of dealing with this with my family, I was able to grow relationships with some of my other first cousins. I have a very large family. I don't know if I said that, but there's like 25 first cousins. There's about four of them who I have a really good relationship with, who I confide in often, who I talk to all the time. But I don't maintain relationships with people who are questionable. And if I feel like you're using me, or if I feel like you're talking bad about me, or things that I tell you, you're telling other people, I'm not gonna give you a chance to like outdo yourself or your previous behavior. I'm not gonna tolerate it. Like, I'm not gonna wait for you to do something worse. I'm just not gonna deal with it. And people don't like that, so they instead of taking responsibility maybe for the things that they could have done better, it's always my fault. I'm like, lonely and bitter, and I'm evil. I just keep people close to me that I can trust. And if I gotta side eye you at any point, we just can't be friends. We just can't rock. So this is how I ended up being able to distance myself. And again, I want to say that this was not simple. This was not overnight. This took over 2 years worth of therapy and work to get to a point where I'm like this now, where I'm not emotional. It doesn't affect me. So the first thing I had to do was accept that they were never going to acknowledge or apologize for what they did. And even if they did give me an apology, it's never going to undo the things that have happened, the times that I've cried, the loneliness that I felt, none of that. I had to accept that they weren't going to acknowledge it, and I would never get an apology, and I had to make myself be okay with that. And that took a lot of work. But eventually I was able to accept they're not going to apologize. And if they do apologize, it's not going to be what I want. I knew it wasn't going to be what I wanted, because they don't understand the depth of the things that they've done. I had to be okay with being misunderstood and talked about in my process of creating boundaries. I had to be okay with being the biatch. I had to be okay with them going behind my back making assumptions. I had to be okay with them gossiping about me because they ain't got nothing better to do with their time. That's fine. You guys, and I think this is probably the easiest step. Go ahead, talk about me, because I'm going to be all the way over here minding my business while you over here talking about me, because you ain't got nothing else to do. Then I had to communicate my boundaries with them. I had to let them know, I don't want to talk to you. Don't put me in group chats. Don't email me. Don't communicate with me right now, because I don't want to speak to you. That's where we are right now, and that's where I'm going to stay until further notice. But constantly they would put me in these huge family group chats. They'd be emailing me. Give them an inch, they take a mile. I wanted them to still have a relationship with my daughter. But through that, like, they would even find ways to just try to get in anyway. So I went on a block. I invited them all to the block party, okay? All of them got blocked because I was tired of dealing with it. You don't get to cross.
I definitely blocked like she did. 2 months ago was my last straw with everything. You know, I think last month or 2 months ago was my last straw with everything. um, I had left my apartment because I wanted to move closer to my son, and I had to move in with some family members and whatnot. And once I done that, um, I feel like God just I feel like this was the right move because I needed to see everything for what it was. And I just lost a lot of trust, during this move, you know what I'm saying? And I can't look at people the same no more. I can't go back um to just looking at people as who I thought they was at the end of the day, man. So um I would just say, man, like, if you dealing with this, if you going through this, you know what I'm saying? You gotta do what's best for you at the end of the day. You really gotta do what's best for you because love don't hold no weight. You know what I'm saying? Like that love word. I mean, only God, the way God love you, that holds a lot of weight. So everything that she talking about right now, I definitely agree with her. Like, but let's get back into it though.
My lines when I've already given you months to talk to me, months to try to get this resolved, and you decided not to take up that offer. And now on your time, when I've already decided, like, I'm done with the situation, now you want to try to make amends. I'm not doing that. We don't have time for that. Like, these are my boundaries. These are going to stay my boundaries. And you're just going to make it worse if you keep continually line crossing, because then you're just not going to know what to get in touch with. The last step into how I created these boundaries is the hardest step for me. And it was basically mourning them like they were no longer here. And I laugh because it's like a nervous laugh, but I had to act like my family died, essentially, because I had to, because they were just so disrespectful to me when I just said, like, I want nothing to do with y'all right now. It just became to the point where I had to block them and act like they don't exist. So I literally have no, I mean, it would be different if I had like a really good relationship with them at first. Um, but I didn't have like a solid foundation with them. So I just had to act like they don't exist. And this was hard for me because it was like all the expectations that I wanted for a mom or a dad or for my brothers are non-existent. And I have to realize, like, these relationships are dead. They're not fruitful. They're never going to serve me. They're never going to do right by me. And I have to get over it. So literally mourning them as if they were no longer on the earth was the next step that I had to do in my personal journey. And so this probably took the longest amount of time, especially because they were still crossing the line and finding other ways to communicate, even through like sending me letters through like snail mail. They were still trying to find ways to be abusive. And eventually I got to the point where I just didn't have any emotional connections to them. And I think this is also something with my personality, just how I grew up is when I get to a certain point, I can just turn a switch off with most people. But now that I do not have contact with my family, I'm happier than I've ever been. I have a relationship with God that has surpassed anything that I've ever could have imagined. When I started getting closer to Him, He filled in all of that loneliness, the need for acceptance that I was having, the need for approval that I had was no longer there. I just feel like a completely different person, and I'm so happy. And I can look back and I can say, I'm thankful for everything that I've gone through, because now I can help somebody else heal from this. And I think that I was definitely like a weak type of person. I cared what people thought about me. I cared about my family not loving me the way that they should. It was a huge weight that I couldn't have the mom and dad that I deserved. And I just never thought that I could get to this point. But with God, anything is possible. He makes anything
Amen.
possible. You don't have
Amen.
to put yourself in these toxic cycles.
You
You don't
don't.
have to be a part of the madness. Even if it's difficult, you may have to, cut yourself off from your family.
You got
It's
to.
for your benefit. Nothing should come before your health. And it started affecting me health wise. And it started, all the healing that I did in therapy, it started, causing me to regress. And it's nobody's worth your mental health. Nobody's worth your physical health causing you stress and sleepless nights and crying. Like, nobody deserves to be put through that. Because now I have my cousin that I'm really close with, and I have a group of friends from my previous job that I'm really close with. I have an amazing job now that I am just, God has just like put his hand on me, and I just am so grateful. I don't carry anger or resentment in my heart. I pray for my family. I pray for their prosperity and for their kids and all of that. I wish them well. I don't carry any bitterness in my heart towards them. If I see them, I'll say what's up, but that's going to be it. So I did not even say that, but something that I'm just really.
I love her story, man. I relate to it so much, about a good 95% of her story, man. And then she said that once she did cut off her family and just let go of any toxic people that was around her and stuff like that, her life started getting better, And I go through the same thing, man. Like she said, she an introvert. I'm an introvert myself. I stay to myself. I don't do what everybody else does. I get talked about on a daily. You know what I'm saying? But I know this is my final destination. I know that after this move, it's a done deal with me. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, man, like God'll be showing us, like friends, family, whatever the case may be, the people we need to cut off in order to receive our blessings and stuff like that. And truly, these past 2 months has been an eye opener, and I don't regret nothing that I'm about to do. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, um, man, that family word is just a word at the end of the day. And I got some genuine people, that I hang around in the fam, but far as particular people, I would never look back. Um, and like she said, she wanted to have that mom and dad, father figure and stuff like that, and she didn't have that. She had a lot of family talking down on her, talking about her and stuff like that. And when it's a point of time when you got a lot of people like to stay in those type of situations because of the word family, and that don't mean nothing. If people are toxic in your life, if people talk down on you, especially when you don't do anything, you know what I'm saying, but take care of your business, and you're a very genuine person, loving person, and they take that as for weakness or whatever the case may be, whatever they may be going through, whatever, and you feel like that's weighing you down, don't stay there just because it's a family thing, because that's how toxic, relationships last forever. You know what I'm saying? And I vowed to myself that, once I get out of this situation, that I am never looking back. And like she said, she cut them off. I'm cutting it off too. And I made that decision the last 2 months, man. But once you do cut things off that are hindering you, you know what I'm saying? Especially, you know what I'm saying, when you're not doing nothing, because it's not a battle against flesh and blood. It's a spirit. It's a spiritual warfare. At the end of the days, family will be going against family. Brothers and sisters will be going against each other. It's just what it is, and we just gotta accept it for what it is, man. But listen, man, at the end of my videos, I always say stay inspired, stay motivated, stay grinding. I'm going to leave a link down below in the description so y'all can watch that video. At the end of my videos, I always say stay inspired, stay motivated, stay grinding. Till the next video, I'm out of here. Peace.